Hi, Ojas.
Hi, Sana.
Hey, we will wait for a few minutes in case somebody joins. We already have somebody, so I'm just gonna, I don't know if you can see it, but I'll wave them. So,
There is,
hi, Ojas. Hi, Azam. So, I'm just gonna give a wave. So, we'll wait for a few more.
that's my
Yeah? Okay. Diana, everything is clear for you, right?
Yes, very clear. Except for the fireworks because today is Cap Gome here in Malaysia. So, hey, that's Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello, Faiza.
Iza is my sister-in-law. Sarah is my bestest at my previous work. Hi, Sarah.
Oh, nice, nice. It's really nice that I see you. I see some. I see some people. Good, good, good. Okay, so first of all, a very warm welcome to everybody. Thank you so much for being here on a Sunday afternoon or evening and night, because Diana is in Malaysia. So yeah, and also thank you so much, Dee, because I call her Dee, so for actually agreeing to do this session. And I will just say one line for her, and then she can give her own introduction to the audience. So she is a licensed therapist and psychologist, and she has been into this whole area in this zone for many, many years. And she does believe in finding the core reason behind all kind of different mental health illnesses rather than just prescribing medicines at a go, right? So I think this is a very great way of thinking and bringing forward to the youth and also to the elderly and everybody else that the solution is there. So with this, again, welcome Diana and everybody else here. So there are some new people also joining. So hello, hello, hello. And Dee, yes, the floor is yours. You can give a brief introduction about yourself, please.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Sarah. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Hi, everyone. Hi, hello. So first of all, I wanted to thank Dr. Sana for inviting me for joining this session. Being Mental 2020, actually psychology and mental health is my go-to thing since 16 years ago. So don't calculate my age. Let's talk about big picture first for today's topic, that offensive versus offended. Why we are easily offensive and why we are easily offended. But before that, Sana, do you want me to continue, or you want
Yeah,
me to
sure.
interrupt?
Because indeed, the topic together today is being offensive versus being offended, and I'm pretty sure we all can relate to it. So it would be nice to indeed give us shed some light about what, according to you, is offensive and being offended.
Thank you, Dr. Sana. So everyone who's joining us can just call me D. I'm okay with that because
And
I
also
like.
feel free to post their comments and questions, etc. So I think that will be more engaging.
Okay, I'm sure. Let's start about offensive and offended. I'm sure everyone has been in that situation for being offensive or being offended. So offensive is what happened, and offended is how we react to it. For example, if let me go straight to the example. Example, for someone called me fat, for example, big chubby things, and then if I react to it, that person is actually trying to push our button. So if I react to hi, Dr. Roos. Thank you for joining. If we react to that button, we are actually being offended. We react to that. Hi, Nur Adira Shima. Thank you for joining. I'm sorry for everyone. I have to say hi to everyone. Okay, let me repeat back. Let me repeat. Being offensive or offended, that is one is what happened, and offended is our reaction towards it. So it's actually a basic human behavior, which it is in us, it is in you, it is in us, in everyone. Just that how we react to it, is how determine where are we. Are we in level 1 or level 2 or level 3? Why I said these 3 levels? If you are at level 1, you're easily triggered. easily triggered is based whether you are emotionally not really stable, not unstable emotion, or the way how you being brought up by your parents, as if one of your parents likes to what we can say is like to, you know, like scold you in front of other people, and those things, it develop from there if you are easily triggered, number two. And number three, if you are being in an emotional stress, that is also being one of the triggers why you are easily offended. But the person who are offensive, they are actually born with it, where they have one of the DNA that we call it in my field we call it as criminal DNA, where they are yeah, there are person who has that criminal DNA, 1%, 2%, 3%, that are being of, they like to see how people react to certain things. And this actually this is how we develop. Let's say we have 2, 3 kids, or you have, if we don't have kids, we can go to dogs or kitten. Those things we can actually test them whether they have this DNA or not. Like kids, right? If they like to do helicopter, or they ask for something, let's say we said no, and they like to do helicopter, or they like to cry towards it, so that is the kind of DNA criminal that we call, because they want to see how we react to it. If we react to that helicopter behavior by giving them that candy that girl or that boy wants, that means they say, well, I'm going to act for the rest of my life. But if we say no and we just walk away, that means they say, oh, it cannot be this way. This is not how to offend my parents. Let's do something else. So this is how we brought up. So offensive versus offended. This is basic human behavior, where it's actually is in us. Everywhere it's in us. We are born with it. It's just how we react to it, whether we are in level 1, level 2, or level 3. But if you are content, for example, you are trying to control the way you trigger, you can be in at level 2. But if you are very, very hardly to be triggered, you are actually at level 3, where for you, this is actually happened where you are already 45 and above, or 40, where you actually say, that's nothing, oh, that's nothing, oh, that's only, that is level 3. So for those persons from the teenager to 30 to 35, we are level 2, level 1. But if some there are cases that we can see that what a person that is 60 plus can bring a brick and smash someone's mirror window while driving, because of that is being offensive and versus offended. That is different case. That is not level 1 or level 2 or level 3, but that particular person he or she having a more in different situation, whether they are stressful or they are having in different situations. So we cannot put that person, that 60 years old and above, in that level 1, level 2, and level 3.
But
so if
I
you,
was,
yeah,
yeah.
so
So yeah, it was quite insightful. I never knew that this also has different levels. So I was also really thinking, which level am I on? But also I was also really thinking that it's also feeling, no? Because when we really talk about I am feeling offended. So the first thing comes, you associate is your feelings with it. So I am not, so I was really thinking like, can you actually detach it from the feelings per se? Because I have read it also in many different places where it says that, yeah, feeling is one thing, but how you react to it is another thing. But when you do talk about being offended yourself, and then I don't know how to detach it for myself, and I'm pretty sure also for many other people's, right? Because it's just you're feeling, you have a certain feeling, and then you are probably upset about it, and etc., etc. So it can have a long-term impact as well. But yeah, do you think it is easier to detach from it and like be rational at that very moment? Because for me, I also find it very hard.
by practice you can. When I was younger, when I was at the teenage years, I'm easily triggered. Whenever people say something to me, I will react to it. I will react towards it. I will be angry. I will sometimes let me give example. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit the sound effect is like sorry,
What?
sorry. Yeah, that's the
You
sound
there?
effect. I want to say
Say.
that stuff like I will be angry like that. So that
Yeah.
is some of the reaction that when we are younger, right?
Okay.
So that is the sample of it, the example. I'm sorry if I make it like very, you know, like very, but I want
No,
to be
it's okay.
excited. Yeah, it's like that. You are easily triggered. So that is our teenage. We can control. So now at this age, at this level, I can control when I have like one of my ex-boss. I'm sorry, my ex-boss. I will tell you one of my ex-boss, HOD. She always said this to me and Sarah. Sleep is for losers. You
Okay.
don't need to just work. Okay. So how both of us react towards it? We don't like, hey, what is she saying? Really disturb. We don't say that. We don't simply say it because we control. We take a deep breath and we say, oh, really? Sleep is for losers? Then we choose losers then. And we walk off.
Mm-hmm.
So when we choose that way, when we reply in that sense to my ex-boss, so she was like, oh. And then the next day, she didn't tell that to me. She said, okay, Diana, okay, what do you need? 8 hours, 9 hours to finish this job? Then I will tell her, I only need 3 hours, but I need my sleep. So I actually stop it that way because she is developing, she has that DNA, 1% criminal DNA in her body. So she likes to push people button. No, she likes to
Yeah.
so that's the one sample, how we control it.
Okay.
Second sample is what happening in Malaysia right now. There's um one couple. This couple is not very popular in Malaysia, where the husband is married another girl, second wife, and
Mm-hmm.
she she exposed it is through social media, and she keep on repeating it like every single day about the issues. So that is how she pushed her husband button and how the husband pushed her button, both of them. So when they keep doing it, they are actually developing narcissistic behavior, both of them, and
Mm-hmm.
then they toxic behavior. But if she meets someone that is, you know, before she has the urge to post something on social media, if she gets a better perspective about what is going on with her, she can be the winning part without posting it on all social media and being better on her, where she can control how she react. But for now, both of them are at the losing part because both of them are fighting on social media, and at the end of the day, both of them become toxic.
Okay.
You
Yeah. Yeah, I was also thinking that there are, of course, different, on a daily basis, of course, we feel it. And you did point out a good thing that it's also about practicing it.
yes.
Uh, yeah, so I think it's also difficult at that really moment to not, I don't know, like, not react to it and stuff. But I do agree that, of course, we have to practice also to how to react in a certain way and maybe take a step back. I was also thinking, like, when you did bring up some examples, of course, but as without, of course, going too much in details to your patient's history or something, but do you also on a daily basis face or encounter these kind of mental health issues, which is related to again again a person who is offensive himself or a person who is offended by, and how it can be linked to different mental health issues, etc., for a long term. And we do have a question from one of our audience. So before we go to my question, maybe we can already say hi to some people. So there's Somana, yeah, so, and there are Valkyrie, there's Mimi, and everybody. Hi, hello. Thank you for joining in. So there's a question which says, what is a narcissistic personality?
Whoa.
That's also, yeah, it's an interesting question. Would you like to pick up on that before we move on to my question? Okay.
Thank you for the question. Narcissistic, okay. Most of what happened is in the social media world right now, or both of us, like, for example, like we are with friends. Whenever people say something, you say, oh, she's so narcissistic. Or maybe on the social media, look at that, she's so narcissistic. Or at the WhatsApp group, oh, she's so narcissistic. It's actually narcissistic behavior. If you can see, they can be normal. They are actually normal first front, very normal. But how to differentiate whether this person is narcissistic? You have to go second base. At first, when you, for example, like myself and another person next to me, for example, we both of us can be similar, but maybe one of us is narcissistic. But we don't know until we go second base with them. But how to go second base with them? You have to talk to them, and then you tell them something, and you see how they reply for first time, second time, and third time. Then you know if they actually replying the same, how they reply the same, and how they reply, the way they reply the same, then that person is narcissistic. For example, I tell Sana, hey Sana, how are you? You know what? I just came back from Paris the other day, and this is what happened. And Sana will reply to me, hey, you know what? I went to Paris also. You know, that's yesterday, and this is what happened. Blah blah blah. So I'm not able to finish my story, but that is only first question. Maybe Sana is excited because we both of us haven't each other for a long time. And then you try second question, the same question, but this time you use this. Hey, you know what? I just visited Gordon Ramsay restaurant yesterday, and oh, the beef Wellington is awesome. And then Sana replied, hey, I had that last week, also yesterday. Second question, the same. How do you see how Sana replied?
Same pattern.
The same pattern, yeah.
Yeah.
And then third, you know what? There's a sales at the mall right now. Let's go, and you know, maybe we can find the best thing offers and we can buy together. And then Sana replied, no, I'm not interested buying the same thing with you, because you know what? Yes, we are besties, but we cannot wear together the same thing together. And then I will say, hey, no, it's not the same thing, but maybe the same color, different dresses. And then Sana will say, no. And then you know, these three patterns, that is narcissistic. That is one example. Second example is how they reply by when you are saying your problem. For example, we tell this, you know what, I'm actually having problem at work. I had like bombarded with very bad boss, and this is what happened. And if that person gaslight you, what is gaslight? Is if they blaming you for that problem, that person is narcissistic. But if that person say, what's going on? Come, tell me. And then you share, that person is okay. But if directly say you have a problem and that person blame you for that, that is gaslighting. For example, of another third example is, let's say you are telling, hey, you know what, I miss my husband, and I think that's my intuition said that my husband is not well. For example. And then that person say, you are just dramatic. That is narcissistic. Okay. That means that is the sample. So that's different situations to tell you whether that's narcissistic. But if that person likes to selfie 10 times, social media said that is narcissistic. No, that is not narcissistic. That is just enjoying doing selfie.
Okay, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that clears out some of the information. So I was also asking you indeed that if you have some of the scenarios in your workspace where it is especially linked to the mental health, or a short-term issue or a long-term issue, if it's an offender or somebody who is being offended themselves, and what kind of different mental health issues have been brought up because of this kind of behavior, let's say.
Actually, this case is happening on a daily basis. We get cases, 10 to 12 cases per day. Even yesterday we had one that is, I'm sorry to tell you, but that person committed suicide yesterday. So we have all these cases every single day. It's just that how you deal with it. Basically, this happened to teenagers when they have when they start early their love relationship. They got dumb, and then they start to do things to them when they are trying to react towards it, and how they're trying to push button to the boyfriend, and the boyfriend says something towards it, and they make it like it's her problem, it's her fault, and they do something to that particular to herself by jeopardizing their own body, their own life. So this is how they react towards it. So for example, we have a group in Malaysia, we have a group consulting this kind of group where the teenagers, if they are having problem or they had early sex, with the boyfriend, and when the boyfriend dump them, this is what we tell them. Okay, you don't need to react. You don't need to react negatively towards yourself. You should be positive towards yourself, because you know what? You know earlier that that person is then, rather than you know, having more years with that person. So let them do that to you, right? You just celebrate yourself, love yourself, and bloom because of that. Don't make it is your problem. It's not your problem. Sometimes relationship happens that way, so we have to accept it happens. That is one. And second one, bully. Being bullied is also offensive and offended. In Malaysia, we have like three big races: Malay, Chinese, and Indian. So Chinese always been called as sepet, or shark eyes. Malays always been called as lazy, and Indian always been called as tambi.
Okay.
Okay, all these three, yeah. When we heard at once, we say, that is racist, right? But if you turn being sepet, being lazy, or being tambi in a positive way, react towards without being offended, you are actually very good. For example, I'm a Malay. When people call Malay, when people call Malay lazy, I don't get offended. Why? Because I'm not lazy. I am Malay, but I'm not lazy. So when people call Malay or lazy, I would be like, I'm not that Malay. I'm new Malay. You know how, or maybe a Chinese, people call you sepet, or people call you shark eyes. You have to say, hey, this is my eyes. I am sepet, and be proud of it. Maybe you just like, I love my eyes. Yeah. Or maybe for the tambi, yes, I am tambi. So what? Tambi is tambi. Right? So
Yeah.
So when we know how to react towards certain people who likes to bully, then the way we actually react to what they are trying to do to us in a positive way, that's how controlling. That's how we control, and not being offended, and not react towards that offensive that people are trying to push button towards us. Because in Malaysia now, people we really like to push each other's button because of this, because of different race, different religion. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Well, yeah, that's a bit unfair thing to do, of course, in the society, and we need to learn, to uplift each other, right? Rather than just judge and say really mean stuff. But like in your first examples where you were talking about these, how it can be related to your mental health and have an impact, you did mention some examples of teenagers, or and when you are, yeah, maybe and the extremities could also lead to suicide. So that is actually kind of an alarming situation, of course. And that also brings me to a point which I also try and practice myself, but also tell to everybody around me, is to just practice empathy and to be kind, right? That's really basic. That's what I took away also from your examples, that it's just to be kind, because yeah, we are all here as a community. And if the example that you put in forward with, yeah, a Chinese person or Indian person or whatever, being based just on the physical appearance or something. I mean, you don't choose how you're going to look like when you're born. So it's also a little bit of stupidity of just being human, I would say. But because you did mention also in the beginning about how you're probably giving less, yeah, just to say it very bluntly, fucks when you're really really after a certain age. But do you really think, or do you have with your own experience as a therapist, that this is more into these engraved within the millennials or the Gen Zs? Are there more cases where you see that, okay, like they are really quickly offended and etc., so that is leading to really extreme actions among really young people? Or you also have seen a lot about, like, in the 30s or something, like somebody like me, for instance?
Okay, let me tell the first comment that made by you, that you said you have to be kind and you have to practice, right? But before
Yeah.
you practice, you be kind, you have to accept.
Yes.
So you don't have that acceptance, you cannot practice and you cannot be kind. But once you accept, that you'll be perfect. And the second part is you said about the teenagers and all that, how we are not, you know, being, we are born accepted. But unfortunately for the teenagers, they don't being trained to love themselves, to love their features, their skin, their hair, their eyes at younger age. So they tend to grow up, if that teenager grows up watching Korean movie, so they think that being pretty is fair, petite. So if one person is being grown up with Hindustan movie, so they think it has to be tall, has to be Miss Universe, then it's pretty. And if being grown up watching English movies, they think that you have to be exposed, you have to wear sexy clothes to be pretty. That's how our culture have to be in, our religion have to be in, to us to teach all these teenagers that being pretty is key to love yourself. And our teenagers are lacking of it. That is second. And the third, okay. On this generation, okay, it has been a debate from the baby boomers, from the generation X, Generation Y, millennials, or whatever generation they are called right now, as who actually offended most. So currently is what happening, if you are aware with what happened in the world, is we have trans age, transgender, we have trans what we call that, being, we want to be called as dog or cat, and you want to speak, bark and meow. So that's that kind of generations, and the generation that now is those person that easily triggered when we call he or she, or call them they and them, or this kind of group, and we have other groups. So when we are easily offensive and offended on this matter, baby boomers, they design as such as they have to show as being their mental health is they have problem with their mental health. No, so that's why they compress the feelings. That is baby boomers. So for them is whether they are depressed that day, whether they are having stressful day, they are being taught to compress, and when they compress, okay, they just go and not dealing with it. And the end, when they are old, then only they realize that, oh, actually what is happening, they are having a depression or stress, and they don't tap in that matter. And when they are old, they are having those thoughts coming back when they, example, like when their children not coming back to home and visited them, and they think like, oh, the children don't no longer love them, and whatever at the younger age happened to them right now because of the compression of the feelings. That is for baby boomers. For Generation X and Generation Y, they are actually learning to understand what is happening with them, to understand how to show their feelings, how to accept what is going on with them, and how to ask help. Because Generation Y and Generation X, they are being brought up for being independent, and when you and not asking help. Because for them, if they ask for help, they are not strong enough. They are loser. So this is Generation X and Generation Y, where they are now being taught. We are trying to tell them that it's okay to ask for help. But for millennials, millennials, they are the generation that they have woke feelings, that everything woke. That woke, man, woke. You know, those kind overuse the word woke. I don't even know what's the meaning of woke anymore, because everything woke, man, woke. You know, those woke feelings. But what is good about millennials? They are open towards different religion, different cultures, and they have more empathy. And because of they have this empathy, extra empathy feeling, they feel more about their surroundings. That's why their mental health is easily being, being easily being destroyed because of that empathy, extra empathy feelings. It's good being empathy, but when you have extra empathy for everything, you are triggered with the surrounding, you are triggered with the different cultures. Even if someone scold your friend next to you, you feel like, hey, what's going on? Why? You suddenly your mental health, destroyed, because not that person is not scolding you, but scolding your friend, and you can feel it because that empathy level is very high. So that is millennial right now. But what worries me is when they are trying to find jobs, or they are trying to find new job, or they are trying to change their environment because of this fragile mental health, some of them are able to come up with that situation, and they tend to isolate themselves because they think they are not good enough. But if they can celebrate that they are actually in a generation that work feelings is good, the good generation, they are actually exposed to everyone else, exposed to new technology, to new feelings, exposed to different kind of environment, they can actually bring the best of generation. And for me, millennials is the best generation ever. That because of that work feelings, yes. And if
Yeah, okay, that was also, yeah, I am not very
10 of this generation are having anxiety.
yeah.
Mm.
Yes, yeah, that I can feel it very well. So yeah, what I felt was then it is there in, well, it is of course prevalent, but maybe some more than the other. And of course, we can blame it on how we are also hooked up to social media and etc., and how a certain perception is formed, right? Like over these things. But of course, the obvious question would be, at least from my side, is what I learned it was that, of course, as you said, practicing your reaction towards it when somebody is offending you. And but I was also thinking, like, if I am offending somebody, because you did say that about the levels, right? About these different levels. But if I am myself offending somebody, how do I also know it? Except, of course, those 1% or etc. about the criminal DNA. If I just get that out of perspective, because I'm hoping that it's not the case. But in general, how do I understand myself that, okay, it's it's just not right? Because sometimes I can understand that as a human being, of course we make mistakes, but also we just probably just don't understand the line where you're drawing, and then you turn up being an offender yourself. So do you have any tips per se, or any techniques that we would ourselves know that we're not offending others?
Okay, being offended has 3 levels as well.
Okay.
The,
Great.
the first level is the 1% DNA criminal.
Yeah.
The second level is the person who likes to use sarcasm or sarcastic questions towards other people by offended people. For example, like I know you're not busy, but you know, I saw your social media every day. I know you're busy, but you post your social media every 1 minute. For example, you don't have any intention being offended. You don't have. But maybe people take it as, what's going on, man? That is my social media. Right? But that second level, usually people who actually they don't have intention to offend, but they're doing it without knowing that they're actually offending people. That is second level. And third level is the person who actually this category is category CEOs, category manager level and above, where they try to push button to their team so that that team can grow better, but by showing them, you know, this is the only thing I can do. I have to offend them so that they woke and they can do things. So yeah, so basically we are both of us. Sometimes you are at level 2 or level 3, but rarely at level 1, because level 1 they are narcissistic, they have criminal 1%, they are, but some of them are bipolar, and some of them are at borderline personality disorder, that 1%. But 2 and number 3, most of us are at number 2 and number 3, because yes, we are human being, we tend to do that too. Sometimes I tend to do it to nurses and others just to let them know that, hey, do your job, you know.
Okay, now I will also practice it myself, and yeah, well, have a little bit more. Ponica Boys texting, is it me or anyone having trouble loading the live video? I have no idea. I'm just continuously talking. So if anybody else, can you guys hear and see us? Well, seeing us is not that important, but hearing us is probably is.
Is that problem with my voice? Is it cannot hear?
Well, I can hear you and you can hear me, right? And if others cannot, maybe they will text, type. Anika, I think here it's fine. I'm not sure. Maybe you have to, yeah, maybe you have to, yeah, restart your Instagram or something. But I am hoping everybody else is fine, although nobody really said anything else. So I'm just saying.
But
Oh,
but
other person also says it's cutting off from time to time.
oh, is it because our lines?
Okay, request to join. Okay, you have no request. Anika is also. I think it could be the internet. I am not sure. Sarah says hers is okay. Okay. All right. So if there is something also, like if you guys have questions and if you also want to strike a conversation, please go ahead, type it in the comment. Or if you want us to repeat something that you have missed because of the internet trouble, I am sorry, but I have no idea how it's going on. So please type in your comments or questions. And if you want Dee to also repeat some things that you have missed out, then also please let us know. So yeah, we can also go back and repeat.
Problem with any superior at the office that is always being offended to you, or you cannot control being offensive, can just throw the question as well, and maybe I can give you some solution towards it.
Yeah, I think that is a good one. Maybe I can, if nobody's really typing it out, I will probably slip in. With the corporate situation, with work situation, I personally find it sometimes shaky or difficult, or like I do not per se understand sarcasm very well. So I'm always trying to observe, like, okay, what is my boss wanting me to do? And unless it's really stretched too long, and then I understand, like, shit, it's just now I cannot stand it. So for me, the earlier signals are very blurry. So I was wondering, other than sarcasm, is it something else that you could probably like pinpoint in the workplace? Like, okay, of course, I think one could also be directly offensive, right? To just say something out of line, or I don't know, something, know something about you, personal information, and maybe pull that out as a, I don't know, as a trigger or something. But do you have any other tips maybe for me?
Being direct and being rude are two.
That's
You
true.
can be direct without being rude. But if you are rude, you are rude. There's no turning back if you are rude at the workplace. But is first you have to control your tone of voice. You want to be direct, you have to control your tone of voice, and you have to first how you. Sometimes we think like when we say something is direct, we think it's direct, but when we practice in front of mirror, then we realize, oh, it's not direct, it's actually rude. So being direct and being rude is very thin line, very thin line. And only Europeans are good. They are actually direct without being rude. But we think it's rude because for Asian, like, oh my god, that is very rude. But it's actually not rude. They are just being direct. For example, I when I was in Frankfurt in August, I'm not mistaken, in August when I was in Frankfurt, this particular guy tell me something like, Diana, you have to be ready in front of the train at 2 p.m. If you're not here, we just leave, for example. And for certain people, that is, hey, I have to wait. You have to wait for me, right? But actually, it's just being, you are late, gone. You're gone. But that's just direct. It's not being rude. But if it's rude, if rude is like, I'm sure you're going to be late because you have to do your hair, you have to do your makeup, right? That's rude. So that's the thin line of being, yeah. But if at the workplace, you have to see their body language. For example, if you're HOD of your boss or your colleague, their body language and their eyes and the way they express that feelings. For example, let's say I'm talking to you in front of you, holding my mug and tell you something. Hey Sana, you know what? I need this, I need this by 1 hour. That is direct. That is not being rude. But if that they just like, hey Sana, 1 hour, that is rude. So that means that particular person pushing buttons to you and to see whether how you are going to react. But if that person really talk to you in front of you, look at you in front of at your eyes, and just by doing things that they normally do, that is okay. That is just they are telling you something that, you know, I am like I used to be a very bad boss, not bad boss, but very direct, but in a meaner way boss. But now I've changed my direction where I understand how to talk to teenagers, not teenagers, how to talk to 20s, how to talk to younger version of us by not telling what to do, but telling them the solution on how to do it. Because our generation right now is like they don't like to be told. They don't like to be told. They really hate it. If you ask them to do something, they will do. If we ask them to do A, they will do B because they don't like to be told. So for us to maneuver them, we just tell, you know what, I really need I really need this paper by 1 hour, but but I leave to you how we are going to do it. So that's how you maneuver. But if your boss, for example, if your boss are telling you something, and you want to know what is this particular person trying to tell to me? Is this sarcasm? You see their mouth. If their mouth like a little bit crooked, like, and their eyes a little bit here, that is sarcasm. But if their mouth is normal way of, you know, the opening their eyes, their body language, then that's not sarcasm. It's actually another level of psychology where I can teach you if I'm in front of you how the, you know, or maybe you can have an understanding of body language, which is very, you know, how the movement of the lips, the eyes, the brows, all those things. And let's say if like I don't like you for right now, I don't want to listen to you. The basic one is just talk to you like that. That means they really hate you right now, or they don't want you to be. They want you to be off from their face. But if they open their body, it's okay. That means your boss is okay with you. It's just that no, that's that. It's just that like that. There's one line. There's nothing. That's just open like that. But if they are trying to close off, they don't hold marks, or they like that, or they are trying to, you know, not looking at you. That means there's something that your boss has something to do, like don't like you.
Okay, so it is indeed a bit of a keen observance that you need to sort of pull it through, and maybe also when you know somebody for a little bit longer, you probably know as well the behavior and the kind of tricks and stuff like that, right? To pull this through. Yeah, interesting. But also like, but this was more on a corporate situation, but I know a lot of people where they are also just working, like for example, housewives, those kind of situation where I also, because I'm also thinking in terms of like mothers or family or anybody who is not doing really on a corporate situation, but really, or house husbands or whatever is applying to the people. And then when you also have to deal with the family, I think that's also difficult, right? Because till now we were talking a lot about the corporate situation and how you meet people on outside of home, but I'm pretty sure that like offending each other also happens within your also safe boundaries, where both of the parties are not yet fully aware. And I don't know if you're also living in a joint family, and if you're living with your in-laws or with your, I don't know, with your partner, boyfriend, etc. And I think that could create even more tension.
Yes.
So you are just living together, and then you're being constantly offending each other and not understanding it. So in that, and very shortly, if you could give also like a little bit of a, again, a tips or something when your partner, or I don't know, your in-laws, your parents, brother, sister, and you find this constant friction and in an offensive level, and how do you create a safe boundary for yourself but also for them so that this doesn't happen?
Okay, for marriage, the relationship of marriage is very very sacred. So this sacred for me, marriage is very sacred because this bonding, both of you are bonding. So before you bonding, you have to understand each other, where you guys are two different people. You are going to stay together, and in order for you, and this is another person. So in order to fix the puzzle, you have to adjust a little bit, you have to compromise a little bit. If you don't compromise a little bit, this joint keep on like this. But if you want to be like this, you have to compromise, and you have to understand each other. But before you do this, you have to actually discuss and communicate, where you have to discuss all the uncertainties, about your goals, about what you want to do, about you want to keep on, you want to stay at work, or you want to become a housewife, or financial, this is very important, and the committing level, whether you have to stay with a joint family or without joint family. So these are the really have to discuss prior, because you don't want to ruin this sacred bonding, because this sacred bonding, where if you are in a joint family, will be like breaking apart bit by bit because of this number one, number two, number three, number four, number five, number six, and seven. And for housewife, you are not only having problem inside, but also with your peer pressure, because when you see your friends are having becoming bosses at the office, having big salaries, driving the cars, and you are at home nurturing your families, and you feel down. But for me, I have a very big respect towards housewife, because it's not easy. One, it's not easy to sacrifice your degrees and being at home, and it's not easy to be at home 24 hours taking care of the house, taking care of the children, taking care of the husband, and yourself will be the last one. Always like that. The housewife, they will buy for husband, buy for children, but for them, they will be the last person that sacrifice. And almost because of the 24 hours at the home, the way they think is different. So for me, if you want to if you want to tap any problem for the housewife, the way we tap the problem is in different way, because we have to be in how they think, not like us. We always go out and work, we see people, we have the exposure, but it's different. But if you are from home and you are also a housewife, this is even harder, because you have to hold two responsibilities, being at home and work at home. So those things. And for those person who are actually living in joint family, if can don't, because it's going, unless you are really you're bonded, your husband really very that strong. If still new, if can don't, because I believe that whenever you say that vow towards each other, when you want to be bonded together, it's about two of you, not about your father-in-law, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, brother, whoever that you are going to stay with. But if there's no other choice, you have to stay in a joint family. What you have to tell your husband is, I am your housewife. I am not the slave of the house. Understand that, right?
Yeah, but I can also understand a lot of people. It's difficult to speak up, right? You just saying like I'm not doing this is also, again, could be perceived as being offensive. That's the point. That's the whole friction that comes up around.
You have to do housework. Obviously, when you are staying in a joint family, you have to do housework. But in a way, slave here is like, you have to do your housework, but with the limitation. If you have to serve your husband during lunch or dinner, that's it. You don't need to serve your brother-in-law, your mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, whatever. Your job is towards your husband. That is, But if you want to do more, let's say you want to help your mother-in-law cook, then it's fine. It's good. Because that is, sacred family. It's a sacred thing, helping your parents, right? It's good. But you cannot say that, okay, I'm staying here, I'm not doing things, I'm just going to sit down and watch TV. And that's cannot also. So that's why the compromise, the compromise there. But whenever you want to be in a joint family, you have to remember that you are new to this family. You have been brought up in different way. This family is being brought up in different way. So in order for you to join them, you have to understand the whole ecosystem first. Because if that house is, the guys are the boss of the house, and the woman of the house is need to serve each of them and also take care of the house, then you have to stand by your mental and physical, because this is different, because there are families that we do each other together, husband and wife. If you cook, I wash the dishes. If I wash the clothes, I hang. You know, there are these kind of people too. So if you are being brought up in different kind of families, and then you join together, and your husband family is different or your wife's family is different, then your wife or your husband have to, you know, tell them to tell partner first what is going on at home and what is expected towards them, so that they won't feel depressed. Because most of the patient that is in joint family, most of them are not ready mentally and physically being in that joint family, because of they don't know what's going on in that house, because the husband or the wife didn't tell. That's why. So before you do that, you really have to talk, you have to communicate before you step into whatever you want to do. That is the most important in a relationship. Communicate, compromise, but not compromising too much. Must
Yeah.
have a limit.
Yeah. Wow, that's also a good one. Thanks. I think with this, it's getting too stretched. So we had some new listeners join in. So I'm just giving a short hi to everybody, and I'm going to repost this video on my page, which is Being Mental 2020. If you're still not following it, then please do follow it, and help me also build a community and spread awareness. And if there is still anything, any questions or anything for Dee or for me, please type in your comments so we can take in over, because I think we are already over time. And so I would just like to conclude it like in a summary of what we have been discussing. Is the few things that you said, that there are different levels of, again, who is offending the person, so they also have levels, and also the levels of the person who is being offended themselves. And the few points that I took up that would be a home message for me is, of course, acceptance, which is really difficult also for me as a person to accept what's going on and why and how, etc. So I'm going to try that better. And of course, kindness and empathy is there, but not too much empathy also. That's what you also mentioned. And again, like you beautifully just put it out in front, like to communicate, that communication is also a very important part. To indeed, to these small steps can probably help us to not really go and dig a hole for ourselves and take an extreme action, and which is basically screwing up our mental health. So before I end this up, I was thinking, if there is, like, in really short, if you could also say some things that if these people who are suffering mentally and emotionally and having different disorders, and what are the things, what are the, like, let's say, what are the key three things that they can do to help themselves, or even somebody who is going through the same?
Okay, thank you, Sana. So whoever is joining us right now, hi. If you are in a very bad situation, or whoever is going to listen later on, if you are in very bad position right now, you have to remember this is temporary. This is only a phase. You are going to bloom in different phase. You are going to be better, but before you want to be better, you have to control yourself. You have to take charge of yourself, and you have to do something for your physical, mental, and spiritual. You have to do that. And in order to do that, when you are going to accept, you cannot just say, I'm going to accept, but you have to link your brain and your heart. That means, yes, I am having problem right now, and what to do about it. So now is I'm having problem. What to do about it is here. So if now you're unemployed, you do something. If now you're having a problem with your stress level, you do something. For your physical, you have to exercise. You have to soak up some sun. This is very important, because this is going to help you to become better, bloom, because this is just a phase, right? Remember? And number two, for your spiritual, you have to pray or you have to meditate, whichever you prefer. Do this thing. Or if you don't want to do, if you are not ready to pray or meditate, you just say that, okay, this is just a trial that is being given by universe. I'm going to score this trial. I'm going to be an Excel student. I'm going to get A plus. I'm going to do that. And then you tell to the universe, I'm going to get you. Okay, that's number 2. And number 3, you have covered your physical, you have covered your spiritual. This is important. And number 3 is emotion. Because we can say that, oh, our emotional now is stable, but it's not. How to know whether it's not, if you are stable or not? You can cry easily. Simple thing, you cry. Even you watch cat social media, you can cry. That means your emotion is still hurtful. You are still hurt inside. So in order for you to go to second phase, from this temporary phase to a better phase, your emotion level, you have to be a little bit stronger. You are telling yourself that I'm not hurt anymore. I'm not sick anymore. I am going to be stronger. This is me. This is new me. And you have to force yourself. You have to be strong. Whenever you get up from your bed, you tell to the universe, thank you, I'm alive today. I'm going to fulfill my day today with my very best and going to get A in this life. A plus, not A plus. So you can do that. Accept your mind and your heart. Link it. Then you'll be okay. And if you still have an attack, what you have to do is sit down and breathe to 10. You can count and breathe with me too, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and again one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can do 3 times, or you can do 7 times, or you can do 9 times. It depends on however, but for me, 3 times works. But if you still cannot do, like for the doctors out there, Dr. Rus, Dr. Shima, and everyone, if you are having problem at the hospital, when you are at home, you do the star shape and you just lie down. That star shape really helped because I do it too.
Yeah, I learned it from you. So guys, I think that's a super cool thing. It looks funny, but it's not. So that you can actually be like this and you're really like out there floating in the clouds. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Dee. Thank you, Dr. Diana. I think it was a very insightful conversation. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've learned. I have a lot of messages that I'm taking home with me, and I'm going to practice it myself. Once again, thank you everybody to really join in for this session and for taking your time out on a Sunday. So whether you are in the East or in the West, I am really grateful for you to be here. And if you do not have questions, I think we are already over time. So I don't want to take any more time of yours, Dee. And we will keep in touch. And I hope, yes, that indeed everybody will bloom in some phase or the other. For now, yes, thank you again and enjoy your Sunday. And thank you, Dee, so much for joining me today.
Pleasure is mine. Don't forget to smile, everyone.
Yes,
bye-bye.
bye-bye. Bye.